All right, it says I'm live. 1 second, we'll get underway in about 4 minutes. What's up, Miss Roshonda Hayward? All is good. I appreciate you, Goat, all the time. Like I had a stream yesterday, and I was traveling through a little mountain gap, and it just cut off on me, so I didn't really get to finish. No music today, sis. No music today, sis. No music today, sis. All right, all right. Someone said, Rashawn, you said I have a double echo. Let me get going. Now, I'm on if I'm heard well and there's no double echo right now, um, hit the number 8. If the audio is fine and everything is good, hit the number 8 so I can begin. What's up, T Ben? It's all good. It's all good. No double echo, and the audio is great. All right, all right. Because I don't have my tablet next to me to tell and see how my stream is running. And I'm out of internet service for about 2 days, so I'm using my phone as a hotspot. But it seems to be working okay. Okay, so the title says, "Is Dr. Solange Ashby an Afrocentric?" Right? And why Jabari was right and Brother Ankh was wrong. So for those of y'all in my circle, just to you may know what I'm talking about. For those of you not in my circle, may just say, "What is he talking about?" So I never had a show 2 nights ago, or was it? Yeah, no, it was 2 nights ago, I believe. He had a show, and he had a discussion on the term or the word or the description black. And Ankh and Brother Jabari was going back and forth. So today I want to come on and say why that Jabari was actually right and Brother Ankh was wrong, right? And I'm using the sister, Dr. Solange Ashby, because she was brought up in one of the sources that Ankh used, a website that he used, in claiming that experts or certain professionals in archaeology, Egyptology, and science don't use the term black, right? But he's wrong about that. The experts do use that term, right? And Dr. Solange Ashby uses that term. Not only does she use the term black in her discussions, whether it's social construct or not, or if it's just a social reality, right? She uses the term. On top of that, Dr. Solange Ashby also considers the ancient Egyptians to be black, right? So Jabari already knows this. Ankh just didn't know. This is why he got embarrassed and exposed, right? Jabari had showed some that website where or some information where these professionals and these experts do use the term black. Now, why is it this kerfuffle over the word black? And why are people getting bothered? Let me tell you, family. No one in this so called conscious community, I'm not talking about the world of academia, I'm talking about in this conscious community, nobody ever had a problem with being called black at all until, excuse me, let me clarify this. No one had a problem being called black. No one had a problem with people using the word black to describe people, whether they was describing ancient Egyptians as black or Nubians are black or anyone else, whether they were or not. Nobody ever had a problem with it. We've never had a discussion and an argument behind the word black. Actually, Dr. Ben had a book called The Black Man of the Nile. And nobody ever got in an uproar about him using the term the black man of the Nile. Why? Because it fits their narrative. It fits right in with their agenda. Now, when did they start having a problem with this word black? Or people using the word black to describe people? As soon as Chief X made the video, Black Egypt debunked. This is when it jump started. Prior to that, you will not hear anybody arguing about the term black in regards to whoever they're using it from. You can't find it anywhere on the internet, on social media, on YouTube, anywhere. No one had a problem with it until I debunked Black Egypt. So the argument is directly and indirectly fighting against my claims. So what people do is, I always say, when people bash, if you're having a discussion and people bash Wikipedia, that means they're losing the argument 100% of the time. Listen to me. If I'm having a discussion and I use Wikipedia to define something or prove a point, all of a sudden they'll start bashing Wikipedia because they're mad that the source corroborates me or you. So that's, oh, I use a Wikipedia. Oh, they'll go crazy and they start bashing Wikipedia to make it seem like what you're saying is not legit because they want to make you think Wikipedia may not be legit into regards of what he's trying to put across. So when I use the term black Egypt debunk, all of a sudden everybody don't know what black means or who don't know who black people are. People are going crazy. I said, okay. And if you have a good memory, you can remember this. So I said, let me use a compilation of terms to make it specific of who I'm talking about. I said, let me use Negroid then. Oh, well, Negro is an obsolete term. They don't use that no more. Anything to discredit, anything I use to discredit Black Egypt, they attack the words just to muddy the water and keep the people confused. A black person is a person of sub Saharan African descent. And those who left sub Saharan Africa and in the diaspora, those are black people. Anyone of sub-Saharan African descent besides Horners. Now, when I say besides Horner, that's just me. It's just my personal thing. I don't consider Somalians and Ethiopians black. I wouldn't call them black personally, but that's just me. You may want to, or you may do. I have no argument with it. Personally, I don't. Okay? I'm just giving clarity and laying the groundwork. Okay? So Somali people, Ethiopians people don't like to be called black, and they don't get down with that being considered black. If you guys didn't know, Ethiopia Horners were the last people in Africa, the last nation to abolish slavery. People don't even know that. Ethiopians enslaved Nilotics. People don't even know this. Ethiopians didn't get enslaved and were not part of the trans-Saharan slave trade. They vibe with the Arab world and in Afro-Asiatic speakers. So I separate Horners from the rest of sub-Saharan Africa. They're different genetically also. That's what a black person is. Person of sub-Saharan African descent. You can look this up anywhere. When the Nation of Islam, with me growing up, you should say the black man is God. No one ever had a problem with, oh, the black, who's black and all. No one ever had these problems until Chief X debunked Black Egypt. So I said, I'm talking about nappy head people, black folk, negroids in forensic anthropology, in physical anthropology, Congoids, Africoids, whatever you like. I'm talking about them black people with nappy hair. Oh, with Chief X, all of Africans, they not, we have different types of hair. Straight bullshit. As an African American, you have a different hair texture now because you're admixed with European. Some of us 25%, 30%, mine is 12%. I'm personally nappy. I have a lady friend, she's not nappy, would be considered nappy, but that's because she has admixture with Europeans. You go to Ghana, Nigeria, and sub-Saharan Africa, besides Horners, 100% nappy. There's no loose, curly, straight, none of that bullshit. We are a nappy head people. I don't see nappy as a derogative term. A lot of people do. So when you hear me say nappy, I'm not being disparaging. I embrace nappy. I embrace kinky. Sub-Saharan Africans, besides Horners, have nappy hair 100%. You can't go to Nigeria and Ghana and find loose, curly haired people. You can't go to these Dinka tribes and these Nilotics and find wavy, curly haired people. They are the people in the cattle coat washing their face and with urine and doing all 100% nappy. That's how we come. I'm talking about black folk. Now, I just want to get that out the way. Now, Chief gets a little kinky. Now, Brother Jabari was right, and I'm going to show and prove why he was right off a source that Ankh tried to use. Brother Jabari already knows Solange Ashby considers the ancient Egyptians to be black. That's why he said that. Ankh didn't know. I'm going to show you many times of her calling the ancient Egyptians black, and she may use different ways of couching it. She may say it in different ways, but Solange Ashby uses the term black and calls people in Egypt black. She's wrong, but yet she does it. Would you say you can't stand Kofa? Yeah. Ethiopians separate themselves from the rest of sub-Saharan Africa. They don't see themselves as you or similar to you. They're of the Afroasiatic speaking people and language group over there. Okay? Let's just be honest about that. Stop trying to make everyone us and like everyone's down with us. Nope, nope, nope. They had nothing to do with the slave politics we were up against. Okay? Now, this is not to disparage Miss Dr. Solange Ashby. She's actually a nice lady. I've read her, I've listened to her before. She has a great disposition. She seems like a kind and sweet lady. She's just an Afrocentric, and I'll show you. And she's wrong, and she's miseducating people about Egypt being black. She's wrong about claiming, like the rest of the Afrocentrics do, that the Egyptian nation state, the beginnings of ancient Egypt, came from the south. They're all wrong about that, and I will prove that. Okay? So let me share my screen and first show my thumbnail is a picture of Solange Ashby, right? Now, oh, let me do this. Let me clarify. Let me just do this. What I hate and what Chief X has never done is argue about skin color and skin tone. It's the most stupidest argument. Hit the number 8 if my screen is shared and you guys can see what I have on the screen right now. Hit the number 8 if you can see what I just shared. Okay, I see it's up there. Okay. Now, it's the dumbest argument in the world, and it's another thing that these people like Ankh and others do to muddy the waters. They say things like it's an indigenous African civilization. It's an indigenous African culture. They'll say Egypt is an indigenous African culture. Like that's saying something special. Egypt is made of 54 countries. All 54 countries are indigenous African people. What's the fucking difference? There's nobody arguing that Egypt is not in the continent of Africa. Nobody argues that. So what I don't understand why people got to even make these things up. Nobody disagrees or argues that people in Egypt, Cambodia, Philippines, Black America vary in skin tone from light to brown to, dark brown or black. No one argues that. These three people you see on your screen are three black people, are three black Americans. They're not immigrants. They're three black Americans who what? Have a different skin tone. Does being black, it says, have to do with skin tone? All three of these people are considered to be black people. What makes them black when they all three have different skin tones? So when we say someone's black, we're not talking about skin tone. We're talking about what we say socially on social media, and some could say it's a social construct. It's also a social reality. And people have been using this term black for sub-Saharan Africans and sub-Saharan African descendants since the Greco-Roman times. I'll prove that in another video. I've proved it before. We know people vary in skin color. Why are we arguing? Why are you guys arguing that? Let me tell you why. So when someone says the ancient Egyptians are an indigenous African civilization, who vary in skin tones from light to white. They're playing a mind game. And they want to leave it at that, to leave you in limbo, to be ambiguous. I've been, I was in the Navy. I've been to the Philippines, Hong Kong, Tokyo, China, Japan, Hawaii, Thailand. When I was in the Navy, I've been to all the Asian countries. And in them places, they have light-skinned Cambodians, excuse me, Thailand people, and dark-skinned people from Thailand. They have light-skinned Filipinos, and they have darker-skinned Filipinos. If someone is arguing skin tone, they're jiving you and fucking with you. If these three people are all considered black, then it's not their skin tone that makes them black. It's the fact that they have a common origin genetically and geographically, which is in Africa. So saying they vary in skin color from light to dark means absolutely zero. Let's move forward. I got to lay this down before so we can understand. Now, here we are here. These three Native Americans at the bottom are darker than Beyonce, but it doesn't make them black. No one would call these three people on the bottom, these Native American type. These are not black people. These are black people. These are not black people. How are you guys confused? And why are you guys playing a mind game? Sarah Susan Seti, Beyonce, even me, is lighter than these Native Americans. So to say they range from light to dark means nothing. It's a mind game niggas is playing to muddy the waters and keep you confused. Because when they say dark, you get happy and think they talking about you. When they say dark African, you get all excited and think they talking about you. No, they just may mean a dark-skinned North African with straight hair like these people. An Algerian who may be of a darker hue. But an Algerian is not a black person. A Moroccan is not a black person. A Tunisian is not a black person. An Egyptian is not a black person. A Libyan is not a black person. These are North Africans who live in the Mediterranean world and do trade in the Mediterranean world. I'm not saying anything wrong or crazy. Pay attention. So just because someone has dark skin doesn't make them black. Stop letting them play a mind game with you. Chief X has always been talking about population genetics. That's the argument. If they are black or not. If they are these people or not. No, the Egyptians wouldn't be considered black people. They are not a people of sub-Saharan African descent. North Africa is not black Africa and has never, ever, 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 ever been black Africa. Ever in the history of mankind. This is why no one can even answer the question, name an indigenous black tribe to North Africa. No one 4 years later has came up with an answer. Because there were no indigenous black tribes or nations that's indigenous to North Africa. Black folk is indigenous to sub-Saharan Africa. And everyone knows what a black person is. Everyone knows when they say black history, whose history they're talking about. And mind you, black history does not mean African history. Now, are we clear on what black folk is and what black is? Are we clear that we should stop talking about from light to dark skin and muddying the waters? That means absolutely nothing. Are we clear? So this says, who are black people, the top or the bottom? You know goddamn well the people at the bottom aren't black. Anyone saying from light to dark skinned Africans is bullshitting you and jerking your fucking leg. Who gives a fuck? We know they're very. All 54 countries are indigenous Africans. Why even say that? Because niggas is trying to be cute. Okay? I don't consider Dravidians black people. They're not black people. They are just highly melanated people with straight hair. Because you're melanated does not mean you're black. The term black is for my people. It's my tribe. I'm a black American hardcore and I represent, or African American. Melanated skin does not equate to being black. Okay, let's move on. I don't see why we even got to go, but people know this. But everybody's trying to argue against Chief X in front, and they all over the place. This is why they're getting their ass whooped intellectually, because they're not being real with themselves, and their lies and their deceit and the way they say things catch up with them. You niggas is on record anyway. Okay. Now, I also heard people talking about Greek people. I don't consider Greeks and Italian people, Greeks and Italian people, which is Rome. I don't consider them white. That's you black Americans thing because you guys are cut up on this black white dynamic in black America. Like if I showed you these men right here, you guys don't know if they're Italian or if they're Greek. They're both in Mediterranean lands. They look similar because they're in a similar region. You couldn't tell if they are Italian or Greek. I'll tell you because I downloaded this picture. I know where I got it from. These men are Greek. You would think they former mob members and think they from Italy and shit. Because you're black American and you think anybody with a certain skin tone, you think no. This is your confusion with Egyptians and Arabs. You have the same confusion. You can't tell a Greek from an Italian, just like you can't tell an Arab from a North African. And let me make my point. Because you all claim Egypt is made up of Arabs today because of the Arab invasion and shit like that. Right? You're wrong. I keep saying this and I don't know why niggas don't bring this up more often on these idiots. Egyptians of today, modern Egyptians, and ancient Egyptians are not Arab. They embrace Arab religion. They may speak Arabic. They may have Arab culture, but genetically, they're not Arab. Because black Americans don't know the fucking difference between an Arab and a North African or a Berber. You guys are confused over here. Now let's see. Prove that shit, Chief. Let's go. Oops. Okay, here we go. What does this say? I hope you guys can read it. I've been teaching this. I don't see why it hasn't gotten through your thick skull. DNA, because DNA is king, analysis proves that the Egyptians are not Arab. They're Egyptian. It's different than an Arab. They're North Africans. It's different. But you don't know that. It's just like, okay, let's just go. What does it say? Egyptians are not Arab as most people believe, right? What does this say, people? As the graph below shows, only 17% of Egyptians are Arab, while 68% of the indigenous population is from North Africa. It's a difference, you idiots. It's just like black folk in America. We're only 13 to 14%. So, where it says right here, 68% of the indigenous population is from North Africa, and is there what? Indigenous population? That means they're Copts. Copts. Copts, before the advent of Islam coming, meant an Egyptian. Now we think Copt to mean only a Christian Egyptian. Nope. Before Islam, it just meant any fucking Egyptian. But now it's kind of been regulated to Christian Egyptian and not Muslim Egyptians, but they're all wrong. People who are there would tell you they're Copts. Copts. They're Coptic. Right? Now, what do they mean? 68% of the indigenous population is from North Africa and not Arab, as I've showed you. Meaning, this 68%, meaning about 68% of modern day Egyptians have the same genetic composition as the ancient Egyptians. They've been there, they've never left. They were not usurped, they never dispersed, they never ran away or left or migrated away. Nobody ever told you that, and you can't prove otherwise. 68% of the modern Egyptians, 68% of their genetic composition is of the ancient Egyptians. The modern Egyptians are the ancient Egyptians. Let me say that again. The modern day Egyptians are the ancient Egyptians. They never disappeared. Just like all of sub-Saharan Africa, all of Western Central Africa was conquered and colonized by the Portuguese, the damn British, Dutch, French, all these people, Spain. And guess what? All them people are still there, regardless of being colonized, regardless of embracing Christianity, regardless of embracing Islam now. All them Negroes, all them Negroids, all them black people are still there, heavy. I couldn't even find no white folk when I was in Ghana. They're all there. They never disappeared. They never dispersed. Are we clear? This is just simple logic. Only 17% of Egyptians are Arabs. Anybody tell you the Egyptians are Arab, slap them. Now, there are Arab Egyptian citizens. Yeah. Because that's what native means. Native means a place you're born. I'm a native American. I'm a native Californian. I'm a native Los Angeles. I'm a native Los Angelenos. Why? Because I was born and raised here. But my genetics come from West and Central Africa. You get what I'm saying? I got to clarify all this and go elementary on y'all cats, right? So let's continue on. I'm going to get to Ashby in a second. Let me see if there's something I need to go through here. So now, let people know that Egypt is only 17% Arab, so they can stop the cap. Okay, now, Solange Ashby. Let's get to the lovely lady. She's a lovely lady. She's just simply wrong. She's an Afrocentric. And you know why I say she's an Afrocentric? Let's just read her qualifications. She's an actual PhD, and she's like the only black uh, um, Egyptologist who's actually credentialed as an Egyptologist. Sometimes, if you study that, if you get a degree in Near Eastern studies and archaeology, you can consider yourself an Egyptologist. Some use the word nubiologist now, but a lot of archaeologists and people who studied Near East history can call themselves Egyptologists, and they do. It's okay. But Ashby, if you want to be technical, she's an archaeologist. It's not hard to look up. You can see this right here. Solange Ashby is an Africanist and archaeologist whose expertise focuses on language, religion, and role of women in ancient Egypt and Nubia. She deals with Egypt and Nubia. But Dr. Solange, like every other Afrocentric, likes to blend Nubia and Egyptians as if they're the same people. As in Nubians or Cushites jumped off ancient Egypt civilization. These are her claims. I will show you. She's an Afrocentric. Now, someone said, oh, it doesn't matter if she's an Afrocentric. Is her information correct? No. Afrocentrics do not teach correct and proper history. They revise history. And I'll show you. She is an assistant professor at the Department of Near Eastern Languages and Cultures at the University of California, Los Angeles. So that's what I'm telling you. They study Near Eastern history and archaeology, and they call themselves either Egyptologists or Nubiologists. Right? This is who she is. This is not. I'm not bashing the lady. She's a wonderful lady. I want to make that clear. She's just wrong on some of her scholarship, and we'll get into that in the show. Right? She has great credentials. Also, I wanted to show this. She has a fellowship at the Catholic University Institute of Christian Oriental Research, and where else? The American Research Center in Egypt. Where have we seen that? I was the one that brought that to the community. They call it Arce. And Arce clearly shows who's Nubians, who's Egyptians, who's Libyans, and who are the enemies. We had that discussion, so people remember American Research Center in Egypt. She's a member of that. She don't talk that Black Egypt shit when she's with them. She doesn't. She only does that with the Black American community. Okay. But with her colleagues, she flip flops and tries to remain. So let's see. Here we go. Here she is again, Dr. Solange Ashby. She groups right with all the Afrocentric. She's a happy cast member. You guys know about the happy movement and the happy film. Happy is short for, or word for the Nile River. She's a cast member, you see? Dr. Solange Ashby. And what does it say right here? Let me see if I can blow this up. Oops. Oops. Control. Okay, there we go. Control. How do they say do this? Hit control. Is it out the? Oh, I made it too big. Hold on. Right to the right. Happy films, happy movement, Black Wall Street, Black love, Black owned business, Black gold, Black economics, Black girl magic, Black work, Black pride, BLM, Mayat, happy. She's down with all the Afrocentrics. You know who's a part of the happy movement? The whole entire ASCAC. Professor Smalls right here. This is who she groups with. You see Professor Smalls on the right? Oops. Right here. Part of the happy film movement. These are all Afrocentrics and they group together. Jabari was right. He already knows what Solange Ashby represents. She tries to rep Black Egypt erroneously. This is what they do. She's an Afrocentric. Now, let's hear it out the horse's mouth. She doesn't even know that the Egyptians are not Arab. She really does, but she doesn't care. Because she likes to play this role with black Americans and play the fence. Let's go.
A lot because, as far as I know, I'm the one.
Solange Ashby here on the show with us on iBlackfield Radio. And the
What did he just say? His channel is called IBP. IBP stands for, what did he say? Um, this is
Solange Ashby here on the show with us on iBlackfield Radio.
I Black Pharaoh. That's what his channel stands for. He's claiming to be a descendant of black pharaohs. Now, let me just show you his content real quick. IBP. Oops, excuse me, y'all. IBP vibes with people like
I'm going to talk about.
Kaba Kameni, aka Booker T. Y'all know Booker T, the Afrocentric right here on the bottom, who claims melanin gives you superpowers. In 2023, Booker T here, or aka Kaba, they call him Professor Kaba. People call him a master teacher, and his nigga teaching about melanin gives you superpowers. You see, he got a pharaoh on his hoodie. They don't get more pseudo than Booker T here. Kaba, Professor Kaba. He is so pseudo. This is the channel she vibes on. This is the host that's interviewing Solange Ashby. They vibe with all the Afrocentrics and all that pseudo fake history. All that fake ass revised history. That's the clique Solange Ashby is with. Let's just be clear who we dealing with and whose channel she on and who she's catering to. So let's just get back to her now in the discussion. We're going to hear from the horse's mouth.
All right, we
Jabari was
have
right.
Dr. Solange Ashby here on the show with us on iBlackfield Radio and the Culture Show. Welcome to the show today. How are you?
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's get started and talk about how you got into Egyptology.
Yeah, so I get asked this question a lot because, as far as I know, I'm the one Black American to have a PhD in Egyptology.
Now pause. I'm sorry, y'all. This is just my thing. Dr. Solange Ashby is not a black woman, first off. She's a biracial. I don't call biracial people black. That's just me personally. I don't care if you do. I will never argue with you about it. Do your fucking thing. Because I have a problem with a person denying their other half. If you're going to say you're black, why don't you also say you're white? You're mixed. So I just call them biracials. They're not black people. In my opinion. You're biracial. You're going to represent both sides of your family. Stop this. Let's go.
Andreas Wood, who is unfortunately no longer in the field. So I was visiting my mom, who was living at
Hey,
that time.
African teacher. Slow your roll, bro. I got you. You made a comment here. I don't want to hear guilt through association. I think you're saying guilt through association. Just challenge her record and show what's wrong so we can see it. That's what I'm going to do. That's what Chief X does. And I don't fail to do it. I'm going to clearly show you the points she's wrong on. She can be right on 90 out of 100 things. I'm going to point out the 10 things she's wrong on it. I'm not challenging her record. I don't know what that means. Challenge her record. She's a credentialed, educated lady. I'm not challenging her record. Let's not play the mind games with you. I'm challenging specific things about the ancient Egyptians not being black. And she has never ever proved the ancient Egyptians to be black, so there's no need for me to challenge that. She just makes false claims that they are. She makes false claims that they came from the South. And I will show that she's lying and wrong. Calm down. I don't mind if people disagreeing, but make sure you get my perspective correct. Make sure you push my correct angle. Don't misquote me. Don't misrepresent what I'm saying or proving. Okay? I prove all things all the time without a shadow of a doubt. Let's go.
In New Orleans and walking around the French Quarter past a bookstore and saw Martin Bernal's Black Athena.
She uses the word black. Let's just get that out the way. I'm just going to tell you what jumped her off. The Afrocentric movement did.
There in the display case, and I thought, wow, a goddess described as black. I need to get this book and read it.
She clearly knows what a black person is. She uses the damn word. Experts do use the word black to refer to people. She said she's a black Egyptologist. It's Ankh who's wrong.
So, of course, I devoured the entire book, and that just sent me off on a search for more knowledge about this subject. At that point, I was living in Oakland, California, and really fortunate to be able to access classes through the adult education arm at Berkeley, University of California, Berkeley. And so I took a class in New Kingdom history, maybe, and then we coerced that teacher, Terry Moore at Berkeley, to teach us Middle Egyptian, the language of hieroglyphs. And I was hooked after that. So shortly thereafter, I applied at UC Berkeley and the University of Chicago, and decided to start my doctoral studies at Chicago.
Wow. And that's very similar to myself. I like got hooked with Ivan Van Sertima's book. They came before Columbus and as well.
Ivan Van Sertima, an Afrocentric scholar with false information and fake information. These people still push that bullshit. He still pushes that. This is the cult he's under. I used to be in this cult, so I know.
Well as Black Genesis by Robert Bauval. That was something that, and also this Black Athena book was also a big inspiration for me. Okay, so you're one of the few, obviously, that believes in the African and talks about the African origins of ancient Egypt. How did you come to this conclusion of the African origin?
West African, YDNAE M2. I don't know if you talk to someone in the chat. Ankh was absolutely wrong. He's claimed that the experts and do I need to play his voice? You guys got to stop taking sides and just be honest people and keep your integrity. He claims that the experts are not using the word black. He said that they're moving away from using the term black. He said all this. They're not. That's a lie. He claims that Ashby does not call the ancient Egyptians black. That's a lie. She does, and I will show that. Just slow down. Ankh was 100% wrong. Jabari was right.
Um, somewhere toward my fourth year of study at University of Chicago. So we have to do 4 years of coursework before doing comprehensive exams and then proposing a dissertation topic. I stumbled upon, actually, I was recommended by my advisor, Janet Johnson, to look at the prayer inscriptions at the Temple of Philae that's located at the southern border of Egypt and the northern border of Nubia. And as I was reading through this publication on
So you gotta listen to people's words so you can understand. She's about that they came from the south. This is why she said that. Just listen.
border of Nubia that's located at the southern border of Egypt and the northern border of Nubia. And as I was reading through this publication on the inscriptions, I noticed that a sizable number of them, up to almost 100, are authored by Nubians. And I didn't know anything about the
So,
Nubians.
so what she's trying to allude to, I will show you further that the Nubians, these dark black people, these Cushites, originated Egyptian culture. This is what she's alluding to.
There's sort of up to almost 100 are authored by Nubians, and I didn't know anything about the Nubians. They're sort of really briefly referred to in most coursework, but there are no courses at University of Chicago about the Nubian culture, civilization, languages. And I remember asking Dr. Johnson, am I going to write myself out of the ability to get a job if I focus on the Nubians? And she actually encouraged me to go ahead and undertake this study, noting that the University of Chicago has an amazing collection of Nubian artifacts from their time doing excavation.
Now, pause. So, in her mind, in her heart, in her soul, she's more so of a Nubiologist. She studies a lot of Nubian history. So she big ups Nubia. She's pro Nubia. So this is her angle. You have to understand the psychology of this, people. Okay? So, and this is why she's going to try to say the Egyptian civilization, the Egyptian state started from the south. It's a bunch of bullshit. And I will show you it didn't start from the south. Hold on.
Right before the building of the Aswan High Dam, which flooded all of Nubia. So my focus on the Nubians led me to start looking even further south, because the Nubian priests and administrators that I wrote about were actually in the employ of rulers from the kingdom of Merowe, so still further south in Sudan. And so I have continued on this self-education process, which is always looking for connections from the south. And so I'm studying the ancient kingdoms of Kush. I studied the ancient church language of Ethiopia, Ge'ez or Ethiopic. I'm looking at the cultures of South Sudan, and I'm always looking for
It's about to come. Listen closely, people.
connections there. And what I see is very, very early connections before pharaonic civilization even arose. There were polities, kingdoms arising in the Sudan. And to me, that indicates that this Egyptian civilization originates from Nubia, or even Egyptian civilization originates from Nubia. Indicates that this Egyptian civilization originates from Nubia. Indicates that this Egyptian civilization originates from Nubia.
Pause. Do I got to make it any plainer? Did she not say that? Is she pushing Sudan and Nubians to be the ones who jumped off the Egyptian dynasties? Yes, that's what she's doing. It's the Afrocentric ideology of revising history and romanticizing. Nubians had nothing to do with jumping off Egypt. They were Egypt's enemies. But let's just listen for a second and watch her try to blend it in.
Even further south.
Absolutely.
Wait, whoa.
Originates from Nubia, or even further south.
And even further south than Nubia. or Sudan. This all comes from the Afrocentric angle with Dr. Ben. You should say they came from the beginning of the Nile where God happy dwelled. All by the Great Lakes, Uganda, Ethiopia, all up to Sudan and then up into Egypt. This is the angle she's pushing because this is the Afrocentric angle. They came from the south. This is the same angle Reggie pushes. This is the same angle Jabari pushes. This is an Afrocentric angle that is wrong, and I'm going to show you.
Absolutely. And that's something I've spoke about in regards to Narmer Menace.
Uh-oh, he brings who into this? Norma Menace. These people have always tried to teach y'all that Narmer came from the south, that Narmer was some type of Nubian. This is what they're lying about. Let's go.
And that's something I've spoke about in regards to Narmer Menace. There've been a lot of speculation, particularly, and I say speculation for the fact that there's not enough legitimate proof that Narmer was from Central Africa or somewhere around Sudan. But we do know that a lot of the artifacts that the Egyptians had as well, Nubians had very similar traditions. So that being said, when
Stop. Nubians did not have similar traditions until later on and after they was influenced. Like Nubian pyramids are 2,000 years younger than Egyptian pyramids. Nubian language, the Meroitic script, is 2,000 years younger than the hieroglyphs. And that came after influence from Egyptians. It is nothing that the Egyptians got from Nubians except gold and luxury items. They didn't read or write in early dynastic times. They just didn't.
when describing Sudan in Arabic, the name Sudan means land of the blacks. And that takes us back to ancient Egypt, which was called Kemet. Mm-hmm. Also refers to land of the blacks. Can you tell us about the term Kemet?
Listen closely to what she's tried to infer. Watch.
Yeah, so it comes from the original term Kem that means black. It indicates the color black, and that T ending comes on to make that word feminine, to mark it as a feminine word from the longer phrase Ta Kemet, so the land of the blacks. Word from the longer phrase Ta Kemet, so the land of the blacks. Word from the longer phrase Ta Kemet, so the land of the blacks.
I told you, listen.
Yeah, and so that is just purely referring to the color, and then we can extrapolate or decide, are we talking about the black earth, the soil that is dumped on the banks of the Nile as the river floods coming down out of the East African highlands? Is it referring to the people as black people on the land? Is it referring to the god and goddess Isis and Osiris, who are also described as black and sometimes portrayed with black skin and black, and sometimes portrayed with black skin? And
oh my God, why did she lie? Now, portrayed black skin. As an Egyptologist, she know they had color symbolism. I don't know why she just couldn't tell that. She wants you guys to think of in this Afrocentric line that Isis was black.
Egyptologists like to say that this is meant to indicate that they are regenerative gods or gods of resurrection.
Mm-hmm. And that's interesting you say that, because
so she plays the fence right there for her colleagues and for black Americans. But we're going to get into something else real quick. Hold on.
Because my title of my book is called I, Black Pharaoh. And a lot of people ask me, they say, hey, man, if you know all the pharaohs are black, Why did you put I Black Pharaoh? And I said, well, Black.
Now, let's get to the South thing real quick. Let me just clear this up real quick. Because I put the actual map up here. Don't believe me. Nakata. Okay, let's just do this. Where should I go? Let's do this. Narmer was from a place called Thinis. Now, I put that out there. Nobody said this. So what they like to do is say, oh, this place called Thinis. Thinis hasn't been found. So there was some archaeological site that the ancients referred to, and these archaeological remains is supposed to be in a place called Thinis, where Narmer came from. They can't find these archaeological remains, so they say, hey, it hasn't been found, right? But all the ancients wrote where it would be. And it would be right here next to Abydos. So let's just say Narmer came from Abydos. And Thinis is even more a little north of Abydos. Now, as you see on this red dot on Google Maps, not Chief X map, on Google Maps, it looks like Abydos would be in central Egypt. Not nowhere near Nubia, not near Sudan. It's above Luxor. It's north of Luxor. And Luxor is north of Aswan. Nakata and Abydos is close by. Now, it may not be central. It may be just a little south of central. But it's closer to central Egypt than it is to southern Egypt. Or the border. Right where this weird red dot is the middle of Egypt down there. That's where Narmer come from. He don't come from no Sudan. He's not a Nubian. He don't come from anywhere down by Aswan. He comes from basically central Egypt, if we want to just round it off. If we're rounding it off, Narmer, or Menes, like he said, who started the first dynasty. Don't let them take you back 2,000 years before the first dynasty. We're talking about who jumped off Egyptian civilization, and it was not no goddamn Nubians. It was Narmer and his people. Who was his people? Upper and Lower Egyptians, not Nubians. Not anybody from Sudan. Not anybody hanging on the borders of Aswan. Upper and Lower Egyptians was his people, and he killed the beef and united them. He united the Mediterranean people in North Africa, all up by Cairo, all up in the Delta, all up where Alexandria is. He united the Mediterranean people with himself and his people down there because they've been traveling up and down there. He united Egyptians. He didn't unite no goddamn Nubians. He wasn't near Nubia. You guys fell for the bait. When someone say they came from the South, what do you mean the South? Ask them. Ask them the South where? Are you talking about south of the Mediterranean Sea? Okay. But they're trying to make you think the South in Nubia or Sudan. They're all liars. They're all liars. 3100 BC was Dynasty 0 or 1. And it started in Central Egypt. But they're going to use South because it makes your mind go to Sudan. And then you say, oh shit, Narmer was a fucking Nubian. The Nubians jumped off the Egyptian civilizations. That's a fucking lie that Reggie's been telling, that Ankh's been telling, that Smash Rockwell's been telling, that all Afrocentrics from Dr. Ben on down have told you, you gullible Negroes. Get that out your head. Don't let nobody play the South shit on you. Let's make it bigger. This is nowhere near Nubia. I don't know if you can see this good. I wish I should have just had a map and blow it up. It's damn near Central Egypt. No one came from down here where my arrow is. Nakada, Egypt, same thing. Same thing. My internet's slow because and my signal's a little weak right now. Okay, now let me do this because we need this clarification. Not only, let me show you guys. Not only was Narmer not Nubian and didn't come from there, after he united Upper and Lower Egypt, you know what he did? He went down and started banging on Nubians and snatching up gold. What does it say Narmer did? In Narmer world history, he led military expeditions through Lower Egypt to put down, hold on, to put down rebellions and expanded his territory into Canaan and Nubia. Canaan, Israel, used to be a colony of Egypt. Nubia was a colony of Egypt. And he sent military expeditions down there. Why would you send the military? Because you're not friendly and you want to set shit off, is why you send a military expedition somewhere. So he didn't gang bang on his own people. He gang banged on Nubians. Hey, Dr. Solange. Hey, Reggie. Hey, Ankh. Hey, Smash Rockwell. Hey, Afrocentrics. Hey, the entire ASCAC organization. You cult. You guys lied. Norma was banging on Nubians after he united Egypt. And what did he do? He initiated large building projects under his own rule, and urbanization increased. All the pharaohs and dynasties, once they took control, banged on Nubians and said, "Give me that motherfucking gold. We need to take this gold to the Romans and to the Greeks and to the Mediterranean world and floss and shit and sell shit, nigga. We getting it from y'all wholesale and we taking y'all shit to the Mediterranean Sea and we're gonna do trade and business with all this gold we punking you niggas of." They was punking Nubians for their gold and making them mine that shit, mine that motherfucking gold and bring it here, and set up all kind of fortresses and colonies and shit and ran the operation. Stop playing with me. Not only was he not a Nubian and he didn't come from no Sudan or no, nowhere near Aswan, after he banged on them people. That means he wasn't a part of them. He wasn't them or he didn't like them. It's just like King Tut. When he had Nubians and Asiatics on the bottom of his sandals, he was stepping on them because he didn't give a fuck about them or respect them. I got to come harsh with you niggas because you hard-headed. You say my narration. Yeah, I got to get up under these skin people's skin. You understand me? I gotta make it plain. I call it I take a hard stance. Donnie, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate the super chat, bro. I appreciate, love you, man. Love you. Yeah, you need it raw. They need it raw. You know, sometimes when a person is sleeping, you can't do this. Hey, wake up, wake up. You got to shake some people violently, nigga. Wake up, get up out that deep sleep. And that's what I'm doing. I'm shaking you violently. Only Afrocentrics use that angle. Oh, they came from the South. We killed that today. We showed you geographically. It's not me making up nothing. I showed you where Narmer came from. I showed you what he did and who he banged on after he unified his Mediterranean people. Now let's continue on with Dr. Ashby, the wonderful lady, who's just happened to be wrong. She's a wonderful lady, though. Okay? Um, let's get back to it. So let's hear. I'm debunk some more
Something
things.
to ancient
There you go,
Egyptians.
African teacher. That's what I'm talking about.
Obviously, it meant to like ascend it into the God form. Is that kind of what you mean by like what they think this Kemet means? Like something like God or
Now
what?
pause. I wanted to go ahead and show you information on Narmer on Wiki, information on meanies, information on who they may think who they thought their wife was, a lady named Neothep. What's her name? Um, um, Neith Hotep. Who's their wife? They're all from Egypt. Even their wife. They're all from Central Egypt. But that'll take too much time. You can go look it up yourself. Look up meanings. Who's supposedly be Narmer? They don't know the proper name or who's who or what's what. You know what I mean? But means and Narmer supposedly the same person. They're both from the same goddamn place. Their wife is from the same place. Also, Hor Aha is from the same place. Hor Aha was some of the earliest hieroglyphic writing. He's supposed to be the like the Scorpion King or one of the first the pharaoh next after Narmer. Nubians didn't do no hieroglyphs. What are y'all talking about? Let's go.
Royalty is what they refer to black as.
Um, I wouldn't go that far. I was just looking at the biggest dictionary of Egyptian words is a German dictionary. And so I was looking in my sort of baby Egyptian dictionary and it just said black land. And I thought, let me go to this Wörterbuch that will give, pages color black problem. So again, of ISIS as, but then further along in the definition, I see, of ISIS as Set Kemet, a black woman. Or see, of ISIS as Set Kemet, a black woman. I see, of ISIS as Set Kemet, a black woman. Or
Solange Ashby is telling you niggas in so many different ways that the ancient Egyptians is black. This is her angle. This is not rocket science, people. Soon as they mentioned Solange Ashby, I said these niggas don't even know who she is or what they talking about. I already knew she was an Afrocentric.
of ISIS as Set Kemet, a black woman. Or of ISIS as Set Kemet, a black woman. Or of Osiris being equated to Kemet, which is a name of a goddess. I wasn't even aware of, but this is a goddess.
Okay, so let's move on to some more stuff she says. Now, she also goes down the same line that Reggie Jabari and all the Afrocentrics and tries to relate Egypt to West Africa. You think I'm lying? We got the receipts.
Can you tell me about some of the similarities? You mentioned Nubia. Can you tell me about some of the similarities between ancient Kemet or ancient Egypt with other African civilizations?
Yeah, so there are a lot of, or perhaps not so obvious, but divine kingship is definitely one. Where in Egypt, the pharaoh was considered to be um, a manifestation of the god Horus. And we see this in other African kingdoms. Certainly, the staff of authority is held by the king. It's the was scepter in ancient Egypt, but we see that with Akan rulers up into the present. We see that with Akan rulers up into the Egypt, but we see that with Akan scepter in ancient Egypt, but we see that with Akan rulers up into the.
I told you. You know the Khans in Ghana. You know in West Africa. So this is the same line that they do. They try to relate some similarities to Egypt in West Africa. That same line that these niggas used to say from the Nile River to the Niger River in West Africa to the Potomac River in America. Hey, you African Americans, you guys are of the ancient Egyptians. The ancient Egyptians was black. You guys are related to them. This is what she and others are alluding to. I'm not making this up on them.
Present, right? That with Akan rulers up into the present, right? And we see that in Ethiopia as well. Priests are shown with this staff that looks very much like the Egyptian one with the forked bottom. So divine kingship, this staff of authority, a lot of gold, just because Africa is so rich in mineral wealth still. But we see the Egyptian kings. I'm thinking of Tutankhamun, that amazing gold burial, his sarcophagus. But we see that in other African kings as well, that there's just gold and their queens are dripping in gold. And then less obvious things like that wooden headrest that we see people buried with, and that we know.
Okay, let me skip forward a couple minutes. We're gonna get everybody on record. Here we go.
Did end up having a very mixed population, but I will stress again that I am convinced that the origins of Egyptian civilization are African, and that you can still see that today when you visit Egypt. In the south, you see people who look like you and I, and they're definitely African people. Those are the Nubian people. And then further north in Cairo, the people are looking much more Arab, and those are much more people are looking much more Arab, and those are in Cairo, the people are looking much more Arab. And
Now, either she doesn't know Egypt is 17% Arab, or she's bullshitting y'all. But as a PhD who's been in this is not no old interview. This is some recent shit. She's playing the same line that Arabs came into Egypt and usurped every goddamn thing, and now Arabs replaced the black folk. What? Listen.
Those are much more descendants of the Arab invaders who came in 640. More descendants of the Arab invaders who came in 642. Descendants of the Arab invaders who came in 642 into Egypt. More Arab, and those are much more descendants of the Arab invaders who came in 642 into Egypt.
So this is what she's trying to say. She hints at it, but she's talking that same Afrocentric shit. These are the Arab invaders, and they replaced the originators of Egypt, who were of Nubian and Sudan stock because they came from the south, and now Arabs are in control. I mean,
Even in the
Absolutely.
Quranic period, though, there was a lot of interaction with the ancient Near East, as we call it. There was a lot of
Hmm.
trade, there was conquest back and forth, exchange of brides. Although the Egyptian pharaohs never sent their daughters, they received
Hmm.
daughters from other kingdoms in the ancient Near East. That was also happening to the south, further south into other areas of Africa. It's just less written about.
Right.
And so the North, I think, is much more associated with the ancient Near East, and the South is the cradle and the heartland of the African people. The cradle and the heartland of the South is the cradle and the heartland of the African people of ancient Egypt. Cradle and the heartland of the African people of ancient.
basically, she said it was born out of the people in the south who she considers Nubians, and in Sudan, this was the cradle of the Egyptian civilization. The originators, not those Arabs in the north. This is what she just said, people.
Ancient Egypt.
Now, in that, that being said, is there a racial tension there between Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt in this day because
Yeah.
of the different cultures?
Now she's about to race bait a little bit because she knows you Afrocentrics love a little race baiting and racism talk.
Obviously.
Yes. So I've been to Egypt, I think 5 times. And when I first went there, I wasn't really that aware of it. But in getting to know Nubians who live here in America and then talking with Nubian people more in southern Egypt, I and just my own experience. I mean, sitting in a fancy hotel in Aswan and having people, both white tourists, because I mostly don't see black folks when I'm there, both white tourists, because I mostly don't see black folks when I'm there, both white tourists, because I mostly don't see black folks when I'm there.
She loves the term black folk. She loves to use the term black. This is the experts do use the term black. Ankh is wrong. Jabari was right. And why does she say she don't see people? Because when if you go to Egypt today, these Afrocentrics will front with you. They know when they go to Egypt, they barely see black folk. Because you niggas wasn't there and that ain't wasn't your land. You're going to be in a position of servitude if you are there, or lower class. Now, that's just because you've always been that to people in the Mediterranean. Let's go.
White tourists and Arab Egyptians kind of looking at me like, what are you doing in this hotel?
And she calls them Arab Egyptians. She's calling them invaders. But I just showed you Egypt is only 17% Arab. How doesn't she know this and I do?
Like they're not expecting people who look like me, or sitting
Hmm.
by the pool and seeing Nubian people who are serving as the wait staff, or Nubian people who are serving as the wait staff or running around after the children of Arab Egyptians. And so there is definitely people who are serving as the wait staff or running around after the children of Arab Egyptians. And so there is definitely a division between who has power and money. That would be the Arab Egyptians, and control of the government, obviously.
Hmm.
And
Right.
then who is in the in the service sector. And so they were certainly not expecting to see me come strolling into this 5-star hotel in Nubia, because I have the face of someone who should be back in the kitchen cooking food, or, you know.
But let's be real, Dr. Solange Ashby, you don't have the face of someone who would be back in the kitchen cooking. My mama, my aunties, and my grandmama have the face that would be somebody in the back kitchen cooking. My mama, my auntie, my grandmama looks like those Negroes in the cotton fields of America, picking cotton. Solange Ashby's wasn't in them cotton fields. Solange Ashby is a biracial woman.
You know, serving drinks.
Right, right. So we see that. We still see that racism existing even in Egypt today. What would you say was your favorite Egyptian dynasty?
Oh my God, yeah.
Here we go. Here we go.
What would you say was your favorite Egyptian dynasty?
Oh my God, yeah. I saw that question and I thought, oh, I have to choose. That is such a hard choice, because I wrote my dissertation on the late period, and so it's already in the period when Greece and then Rome were dominating and ruling Egypt. So it's not exactly glorious, but there is this flourishing of cultural exchange and sort of a battle for the survival of traditional Egyptian
Listen.
culture under this foreign domination. I love the Old Kingdom. I wish I knew more about it. Those pharaohs were just fine brothers.
Right.
Now, she's talking about the Old Kingdom, and she said they were fine brothers. She's trying to say they were some fine-ass black men in the Old Kingdom. She's calling the Old Kingdom Egyptians black, basically. She already said that they founded Egypt, black folk, Nubians. And now she's calling people of the Old Kingdom pharaohs some fine brothers. Let's hear it from the horse's mouth again.
I love the Old Kingdom. I wish I knew more about it. Those pharaohs were just fine brothers.
Right.
Well, she's trying to tell you that the ancient Egyptians are black people. In every kind of way she can say it.
You know, and it's such a glorious period of
And it was a glorious period.
initial creation of the Egyptian state. Everything's
I told you the initial creation of the Egyptian state were a bunch of fine brothers. It's what she said. She's saying that they're black. Jabari is right.
bigger. And it's such a glorious period of initial creation of the Egyptian state. Everything's bigger, including the pyramids at Giza. The statuary is just gorgeous. And this is where we can look at the earliest manifestations of Egyptian religion. Although, truth be told, that's already happening in the pre-dynastic period. So hard to choose.
I know. I really love the 18th.
She also alluded to basically the Nubians or black brothers in the old kingdoms jumping off and starting the Egyptian religion. But you guys know the Nubians didn't even have no hieroglyphics. I mean, this is called revised history and fake history and pseudo history. It's romanticization at its finest. Let's hear some more romanticization.
Dynasty, and I was telling Dr. Ashton this when I spoke to her. I really love Hatshepsut. My book actually is about Hatshepsut and Tutmosis III. I loved what they brought to Egypt when the restoration from that intermediate period after.
Let me move it forward so we can end this.
Queen and Merowe.
And it's very interesting because I was reading about these ancient Egyptians. Describe.
Okay, yeah, great. The terms that we use that I have been.
Their traditional values.
Okay, yeah, great question. So I should just preface this by saying almost all of the terms that we use that I have been using for ancient Egypt, including the name Egypt itself, are Greek terms for what the actual Egyptian terms were, including referring to Nubians as Ethiopians, right? And so that Greek term means burnt face. And so what they were trying to describe is dark-skinned people. They were trying to describe is dark-skinned people. And so what they were
Now, see, the Greco-Roman world didn't consider Egyptians burnt face. Just people of Ethiopia, which is basically sub-Saharan Africa, they considered them burnt face or black people. They didn't consider Egyptians, Ethiopians, burnt face. Arabs didn't call Egypt land of the blacks. They called sub-Saharan Africa land of the blacks. If Arabs thought the Egyptians were black, they would have called their land land of the blacks. They didn't do that. They skipped all over Egypt and waited till they hit Sudan, and they coined and called the Sudan people or Nubian people. They called that area in sub-Saharan Africa land of the blacks. Arabs didn't call Egypt land of the blacks. Why? Because it wasn't the land of the blacks, Einstein. This is simple logic. The Greco-Roman world, the Persians, and the Arab world did not refer to Egyptians as black folk. They skipped all over them and called black folk people who were south of Egypt. Why would Arabs do that? Because they knew the Egyptians wasn't black, so they didn't refer to them as the land of the blacks. This is simple logic. Let's go.
Trying to describe is dark-skinned people. And so that's what they used for Nubia. But the Greeks being really latecomers to these.
Let me skip forward. I'm gonna just skip forward. This is what you call romanticization. Right here, what she says. Okay. Here we go. She's going to call people in the south the land of the gods. And she says they referred to people in the south as the land of the gods. Like they were more special than people in the north. What?
Sort of bragging about their journeys in Egypt and all of the amazing things that they learned. And they revere the sites of worship in ancient Egypt, and they see it as a portal to what they describe as the God's land, which is still further south. What they describe as the God's land, which is still further south. To what they describe as the God's land, which is still further south.
Oh my God. God's land is down there. The ones who started Egypt is down there. And ain't nobody came from the fucking south.
From Egypt. And so now we can imagine they're talking about Kush, about Nubia, perhaps even up into the highlands of Ethiopia.
See, we got to stop. Oh my God, we got to stop this shit. Hold on. Where's my damn book at? Hold on. One second. So people would just think, oh, Chief X ain't got no books, he don't read. Another person in them sources that Ankh pulled up, acting like they don't use the word black no more. Not only was one Solange Ashby, Another was Stuart Tyson Smith. He wrote a book called Wretched Cush. Who called them wretched? Egyptians called them people wretched. But she wants to portray the land of the gods and romanticization. And, oh, they started Egypt, and oh, the old kingdom was fine brothers. And yeah, I got Stuart Tyson's book. I do read. Now I think he updated some things and may have changed how he think, but he knew that certain pharaohs referred to Cush as wretched. I got the book, Ankh. I got Solange Ashby right here on record. I can talk about the Near East. I've read about the ancient Near East. I'm not just some old little poo butt who don't read or don't know nothing. Since we like to pull out books and shit all the time. All right, so we're about to end it. Let me just get back to it's about 2 more minutes of her. So I just had to play her and let you hear it out the horse's mouth. Yes, she's an Afrocentric. Yes, you cannot believe what an Afrocentric teaches about history. She connects with people like Professor Kaba, Professor Smalls, all these Afrocentrics. They pushed this Ivan Van Sertima and we came to the Americas and all this blackology BS. Busted. You are wrong. See, Jabari knew how Solange Ashby thought. He knew she don't have a problem with black. He knew she considers the Egyptians black. You just didn't know, Ankh. And you jumped out the fucking window acting like she's a professional. She is a professional. But you're acting like these professionals and these people like Stuart Tyson and Solange Ashby were getting away from using the term black. And she done said the word black at least 20 fucking times. She done told you in so many ways that the ancient Egyptians was black. Yes, she connects with all the Afrocentrics and their conferences. They use her because she's the only black or so-called black Egyptologist who speaks their language. Busted. Now let me get to the last few minutes real quick. Oops.
And then that changes when Alexander comes and conquers Egypt in the 4th century BCE, because then they are themselves a colonial power in this land of ancient learning, and that's never going to be a respectful interaction.
That makes sense. So from the perspective of Egyptology, okay, in early days, now I'm not here to accuse anyone, but would you say there was somewhat of an attempt to separate Egypt from Africa in the study of Egyptology?
Yes, absolutely. I mean,
now let me clear this up, because Afrocentrics spin this to fit their narrative. They're not telling the reality of this stuff. This is why I always say, to this day, I've been asking for the last year for somebody to show me, not no straggler, but show me white people, specifically Germans, people who enslaved us, the British, the Spaniards, Portuguese, French, Dutch. You cannot show me any of them people claiming to be the ancient Egyptian. You niggas has been lying for decades. White folk do not claim to be the ancient Egyptians. What they said was they're Caucasian. That's different than saying white people. Because when you say Caucasian, that means you're talking about Arabs, Berbers, people from the Caucasus, people from the Near East. In physical anthropology, they consider them Caucasians. But black Americans who weren't hip and didn't understand that, when they heard Caucasian, the only thing they can think of was a person from Britain. When white people saying they're the ancient Egyptians, that's bullshit. Where and when? Show me this information when white folks are saying they the ancient Egyptians. You cannot do it. And another thing, no one has ever, and scholarship does not take Egypt out of Africa. That's not what they're saying. They all will tell you Egypt is in the continent, is on the continent of Africa. But its culture, who's this next door neighbor who is connected to, which is West Asia, is considered the MENA region. MENA is called it's North African Middle East is the MENA region. Excuse me, Middle East North Africa is what MENA stands for. They are the MENA region. They do business and trade and have similar culture with people from the Near East, from West Asia. They've been doing trade and business forever. Canaan was a colony of Egypt. They've been fucking with each other. So they just letting you know that that MENA region is a different than the 90% of Africa. That's all they're trying to say. And you guys take that shit so personal. Who gives a fuck? You guys want to be ancient Egyptian that bad, you're mad that Egypt is part of the MENA region. It's part of the Near East region. So of course they're different from niggas in Ghana, Cameroon, Nilotics. Let them be different.
So George Reisner from Harvard University, his publication.
Yeah, somebody said it's also known as Wana. Yes, a bunch of different names. Now, Wana is West Asian North African. Some even say MENA T or MENA P. It's a MENA dash P, meaning Middle Eastern North Africa and Pakistan. And then I have MENA T, Middle Eastern North Africa and Turkey. That's what the T is for on MENA. These people are different from you.
You know, they're still foundational in the field, and I still need to access them to get at that original excavation data. But his just racism is just appalling. And he and Flinders Petrie.
Now let me play this real quick, and we're gonna get ready to get off this. This is how you know. Watch this question and watch her answer.
Should the worldview consider ancient Kemet to be a part of Black history? Worldview. Should the worldview consider ancient Kemet to be a part of Black history?
Oh, absolutely.
Be a part of Black history.
Oh, absolutely.
Be a part of Black history.
Oh, absolutely.
Uh-oh! So Egypt should be part of Black history. She says absolutely. First of all, let me make some clarification. Black history is different than African history. Okay? Black history is about the history of African Americans in America, in the diaspora. It has nothing to do with African history. Africa is a continent. There's no such thing as African history. We throw that word around too loosely. Because Ethiopian history is way more different than Moroccan history. Ethiopian history is way different than Ghanaian history. Don't tell no don't tell no person from Ghana that they in cahoots with Ethiopian history. It's a contradiction. It makes niggas think crazy. There is no such thing as African history. That's something we in America say out of our confusion. Africa's a continent. That's just like saying Asian history. So that means Cambodians and Iranians are in the same boat and have the same history? No, you stupid ass. Vietnamese history is different than Iraqi history. They are two different people. You don't blend them all just because they're on the same continent. And it's the same with Africa. You don't blend all the Africans, all people in Africa the same because they're on the same continent. It's stupidity. It's lack of logical thinking. It's not a rational argument. Black history is not African history. It's two different things. I have nothing to do with the history of Kenya. I'm not an East African. I come from West Central African stock. So I have nothing to do with Kenyan history. Therefore, you can't box me up with Kenyan history. So she's saying absolutely Egypt, ancient Egypt should be a part of black history. How? You're trying to say the ancient Egyptians was black and we may descend from them. Therefore, that should be part of our history. This is what they're saying, people. So I want black Americans to understand black history is not African history and that there's no such thing as African history. All them countries and all them people and all them regions have their own history that's unrelated to each other. People in Angola don't have the same history as the people in Chad. People in Zimbabwe don't have the same history as the people in Mauritania. What do you mean African history? You see how we get caught up in fantasy land, in la la land?
Absolutely. I think,
Consider ancient Kemet to be a part of Black history.
oh, absolutely.
Be a part of Black history.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, stop. Oh my God. Listen here, family. You gonna stop this here. You are not gonna do this. You are not gonna mix my family's history, transatlantic slave trade, cotton fields of America, even in them sugarcane fields in Brazil. Niggas hard work, back breaking work. Martin Luther King and his SLC. You know what I mean? Sojourner Truth. You know what I'm saying? You are not gonna mix Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, me, my daddy, up with some fucking Caucasians in fucking ancient Egypt and put us all together. Nope, 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 nope. Not gonna happen. My people ain't got shit to do with no ancient Egypt in 3100 BC. That's not my history. That's not my people's history. And it should not be a part of black history. At all. Just like ancient Egypt should not be a part of Vietnamese history. What are you talking about? The Hotep hustle is amazing. Listen here, family. Uh, uh, uh. South African history is different than Cameroon history. You can't botch them together as if they had the same experiences. See, black Americans didn't even think this deeply. I'm trying to help you. I'm a proud black American. This is my tribe. This is my We're a subgroup in America. And my tribe is black Americans. I'm a proud black man. My connection is a little bad and weak, so I'm gonna kind of end this real quick. It was one more point. I want to hear her, y'all hear it out her mouth. Hold on, let's go.
Absolutely. I think more and more in the last 20 years, we see even some mainstream Egyptologists that primarily white and other, including Chicago, still late period. But that does not work and squashes inquiries into the origins of the Egyptian state. For that, we need to look south, is inquiries into the origins of the Egyptian state. For that, we need to look south.
Look south where? Not your south. Your south is Sudan and Nubians. Dr. Ben's south is that. Reggie's south is that. Ankh's south is that. Afrocentric south is. I've already explained this. This is what they're alluding to. Let's keep going.
To the rest of Africa, and those connections continue to be present. My entire dissertation is talking about kings and queens from Merowe who were
Merowe, that's Kush, Merowe, the Meroitic script, Nubians. They're way down by the fourth cataract. Do you know where the fourth cataract is? Get a map and look it up. People by the fourth cataract ain't had nothing to do with jumping off Egypt. Stop this motherfucking shit.
sending military troops, sending pounds, literally pounds and pounds of gold, sending priests and administrators to continue traditional worship at the Temple of Philae. And that's happening in the second, third, and fourth century AD. Telling
an amazing this begins in Aswan, or the southern part of Egypt today. Would you say that they are knowledgeable that they are the original people of Kemet?
Yes.
Knowledgeable that they are the original people of Kemet?
Yes.
Or the southern part of Egypt today. Would you say that they are knowledgeable that they are the original people of Kemet?
Yes.
She just said it right there. Them Nubians hanging around the border of Aswan are the original people of Kemet. She's an Afrocentric, and she's wrong.
Yes, so I have a funny scene from being the independent scholar, and then they say to me, we're the people who started this civilization. We're the people who started this civilization. And I
see, this is a lie. They don't say that to you. See, them Nubians, and especially them Nubians around Aswan, around the Nubian village, they know they're Nubian. They claim to be Nubian. So these doctors who think they got clout and people gonna believe any word they say like to make up these fake ass stories.
Said, I know you are. And so they know civilization. And I said, I know.
And she co-signed it. She said, I know. You Nubians are the ones who started ancient Egypt. Man, look here. Case closed, bro. This is So I made this video just to show you got to be careful with these Afrocentric scholars. And Dr. Solange Ashby is an Afrocentric scholar. She pushes the line that the ancient Egyptians was black. She said it in so many ways. I'm sorry. Jabari beat the brakes off of Ankh. Jabari knows she has no problem using the word black, and she has no problems considering the ancient Egyptians black. Jabari was right, because he knows her. Ankh was wrong. What she's doing is Hotep hustling. You know why? Because as a black Egyptologist, a black nubiologist, the black community, especially the Afrocentrics, are going to lean on her and call on her. And she can use all that to her advantage, even though she knows better. Even though when she's not with Arce, the American Center for Research in Egypt, who she's a fellowship with, she doesn't talk like this around them. You can't, she has many, you can't see her in interviews with any white folk, with any of them fellowships talking this way. She talks that way around y'all. And she's a Tony Browder. Yep. They all come from the same line. And with your African teacher, you said all his questions are leading and non-neutral, bad host. Yeah. She knows she's going to a guy who's a rabid Afrocentric. She knows she's going to a guy's page who, if you missed the beginning of this, I wish people just rewind shit so you can catch all of it. He's Afrocentric. He supports people like Brother Kaba Khomeini, however you pronounce his name, who used to be called Booker T, who teaches melanin gives you superpowers. We came to the Americas. The Egyptians came to the America. You know what I mean? Black folk was in America, and the Native American, the Indian Native Americans are fake. You know what I mean? Those are the fake Egyptians. We're the real Egyptians. She comes from all this bullshit line. But I'm not saying she's a bad person. She actually seems like a nice, pleasant, and kind lady. She's just simply wrong about this Hotep hustling. She's wrong about trying to make Egypt black. That's all I'm saying. And I know she'll see this video. And any of y'all cats is welcome to have me on a panel and we can have a discussion to clarify this shit. Man, I've showed you that she said the ancient Egyptians are black in so many different ways. If you missed the beginning, get off this thing and rewind it. Black history is totally something different than African history. There's really no such thing as African history. But I know you guys have heard that term, that phrase so much. It's embedded in your mind. African history, African history. Because black Americans think everybody on the African continent is them. They're related to everybody on the continent. And Africa's like they think anybody with kinky hair is the same. But they don't think everybody with straight black hair is the same. It's crazy. Because I, as a Ghanaian, I'm just saying my answer, I'm a black American. But me of Ghanaian descent, just because my hair is nappy and a person from South Sudan hair is nappy, we're not the same people. We're not of the same stock, the same tribe. We're not related genetically. It's the same as a Cambodian is not related to an Iranian just because they have straight black hair. Black folk got to wake up and separate themselves. I heard somebody earlier talking about, well, what is this dude named Black Lion Supreme? This whack job, this nutcase named Black Lion Supreme. What did he say today? Basically, he was just basically saying all of Africa is him. Do you think a person in Kenya thinks African American history is their history? No, they don't. So why would you think Kenyan history is part of your history? Do you get the logic? Do you get the rational argument I'm bringing? What other? It was another photo. That's Let me just show this. This is how confused we are, and then we're gonna end with this. Hold on. Are these Italian men or are they Greek? I can do this a million. I can ask this question a million times, and it's gonna be 50-50. People in this similar region have similar features and look alike. You don't know if this is these are some mob bosses or not. They can be in a Martin Scorsese film playing mobsters. But guess what? These are Greek men. But your limited knowledge and your limited understanding as an African American, you confused about this. And you think they're all the same because they look similar. These are Southern Europeans. I don't consider Greeks or Italian men white. I don't. You can if you want to. They don't themselves consider themselves white. Italians don't give a fuck about no, and Greeks don't give a fuck about no white Americans and no motherfucker from Britain, England and shit, and Ireland and shit. They don't give a fuck about none of that shit. They don't match themselves with Britons, anybody in the British Isles, Germans and shit. A German and a Greek is two different people. You can't just say, "Oh, they're Europeans," and are they? They are Europeans. They're Southern Europeans. They're in another region. What do y'all be thinking and talking about? It's the same thing. Remember the video I did a couple years ago? It was some Italian Muslim women, right? I said, watch these niggas fuck it up. Can what nobody get this right? There was some Italian Muslim women wearing a hijab and shit. Looking at them, I said, hey, these are some Moroccan women. These are some Egyptian women. I did a whole thing. I let people guess through the whole live stream. What are these women from? Yeah, they guessed Morocco. They guessed Tunisia. They guessed Libya. They guessed Egypt. They Algeria. They was all guessing. Then I said, you guys are all wrong. They're my Italian women. They're just Italian Muslim women. They had no clue because they had similar features and looked alike. Why? Because Mediterranean people have similar features because it's a region. Just like I have similar features than someone who's in Cameroon or in the Congo, Western Central Africa, we have similarities in phenotype. You, you remember that, Donnie? Hey, Chief X been teaching. I'm not going to invite nobody on because they don't be coming on no way. But check this out. I'm a one man army. I don't need no team. I'll handle any one of these cats one on one. I like one on ones. Cedric didn't want to take a one on one today. He needed backup. Niggas don't even be them cats don't even they need backup when they out doing their shit. Soon as they begin to do a presentation on YouTube, like Garfield, soon as these cats start their presentation, 5 minutes later they get in a panel together because they know the panel gonna be mostly their yes boy friends, their yes men. They need help. Fuck this shit, nigga. I'm a loner. I'll flip, intellectually body slam, and whoop all these cats as a one man show. Hey y'all, I'm gonna get up out of here. Ankh, you was wrong. Well, hold on. Ankh, man, I'm gonna just. Trust me, I'm not saying this thing out of spite. Your behavior on Sonnetters when you was debating Ankh and Smash and all them was crazy out of line. It's like you just went crazy and became a berserker. No one can talk to you without you talking over them. If someone's at, bro, it's just crazy. I'm like, this nigga has mental health issues. And here's the thing about it, Ankh. You are scared to death of Smash Rockwell. Smash Rockwell be the one insulting your ass and has insulted you all week. Jabari has not insulted you one time. And you go at Jabari like you just got like, just this venomous thing for Jabari. Oh, Jabari. Oh, it's Smash the one that's been whooping your ass and insulting you, not Jabari. It's Smash and Jabari was on that panel disagreeing with you and spanking you. But you keep focusing on Jabari because you just scared of Smash and you got to keep this peace with Smash. And Smash, I remember Smash about 4 months ago cussed you the fuck out bad. Ankh had to humble himself. Smash is the only person Ankh is scared to go back at. Because Ankh knows he has to remain cool with two people. That's Smash and Garfield. And Sonnetter, excuse me, three people. Smash, Garfield, and Sonnetter. Smash, oops, I'm sorry. Smash, Garfield, Sonnetter. Smash, Garfield, Sonnetter. I remember Sonnetter, I had to make a video 2 years ago. I said, is Ankh and Garfield some punk and weak? Why did I say that? Because I remember the time, and I know y'all remember, Sonnetter snapped on Ankh and Garfield. Cussed these niggas out, called them bitches and hoes and punk ass niggas and all kind of shit. Ankh and Garfield didn't snap back at all. They was quiet and went into hiding for 2 weeks. Because if they snap back, they're going to cause further confusion with Snyder and they're not going to be able to be on his channel. They be trying to save that relationship with Garfield, Ankh, excuse me, Garfield, Smash, excuse me. Ankh is trying to save them relationships with Smash, Garfield, and Snyder. And guess who? Them the three niggas with the channels that this small community vibe on. Anybody else? Any other underling? Like Garfield's homies are underlings? Smash homies are underlings? Oh, Ankh gonna matter. Oh, fuck you, nigga. You got an army of pseudos and this and this and that. He'll get it, but he won't fuck with Garfield or Smash or Sonnetter. Scary ass nigga. Smash treat you like a little boy sometime, and you looking like a little scared ass nigga who's scared to come back at him. You will argue with him and discuss shit, but you'll stay away from the disrespect. You'll disrespect anybody. Corey will come on. You'll tell Corey, shut the fuck up, nigga. Fuck that and fuck you. And say, you cuss everybody out except Smash and Garfield and Sonetta. Oh, Sonetta's just tripping right now, man. Oh, don't trip, don't. Sonetta's, don't, he's just tripping right now. With me, you didn't call my mama a whore 3 different times. Oh, well, you on record. Your mother's a bitch and a whore, Chief X. Chief X the drunk. You know what? I like being the heel. I love being the heel. I said, you know what? Every time I do a goddamn live stream, I'm gonna have my glass of whiskey and be sipping, smoking my pipe and sipping my whiskey. Keep calling me drunk. Actually, let me just say, actually, Chief X was not a drinker at all for 53 years. Drinking was not my thing ever. I just started drinking because I picked up the tobacco pipe habit because I stopped smoking cigarettes in Black and Mild. I don't inhale this. So my cardio is much better, so I'm smoking pipe. But in the pipe smoking culture, if you follow pipe smokers on YouTube and the intellectualism of pipe smokers, and it's just a whole culture, you know what I mean? Pipe smokers, and it's just a whole culture. Y'all don't know that about it. But anyway, and tobacco and different type of tobaccos and, different tasting tobaccos, aromatics, and you know what I mean? So it's just a thing with people in pipe culture. Sometimes when they sit back in the evening or whatever and they smoke their pipe, they may have a shot of scotch and whiskey. So I just recently started drinking whiskey in the evening time sometimes, or like if I'm live, I might have. Oh, Chief X drinking while he's doing scholarship. Nigga, this ain't no scholarship. This shit's the shits and giggles. This is shits and giggles. This is just a hobby. This is just something fun. I keep telling you, dumbass niggas. I will never, ever, ever, ever get a lot of views. I understand that, and I'm fine with that. It's you niggas who's not fine with that. It's you niggas who don't understand that. You niggas for last 15 years, all you will get is 1 in 2,000 views. That's it. On a good day, depending on who you put in the topic, you might get 3,000. But other than that, we only 1,000 and 2,000 view niggas. And that's how we'll remain until the day we die. Believe it. You will never be a conscious community celebrity or some Dr. Ben or the next John. You will never be that. Black folk don't give a shit about these topics. I've resigned to understand that. Black folk don't ever give a shit about none of these history topics. They not into history unless it's glorifying them. So a nigga like me who going against the grain will never, ever, ever, ever have a lot of views. And I'm okay with that. This is just shits and giggles. I'm entertaining myself. I'm killing time, and I'm fucking with people who's in my intellectual circle, and I'm cool with that. When you niggas get that in your mind, then you'll stop clout chasing. See, I don't give a shit. I may be on Sonetta one day, but Sonetta knows I will cuss his ass out the next day. I'll cuss Sonetta out right now. I'll expose that. I don't give a shit about that. You niggas are scared of Sonetta. You niggas are scared. I will come for any motherfucking body and won't give a shit if they cancel me. Kiss my ass. So I said, since I want to call me a drunk, every video I'm going to sip some motherfucking whiskey and enjoy my evening. Now, here's a video I'm going to do. It's going to be called Black is Not a Social Construct. It is a social reality. Niggas been using that term since the Greco-Roman times. The Arabs, everyone has called us sub-Saharan Africans and sub-Saharan African descendants black. And I'm okay with it. You guys want the term black to go away. You want the term sub-Saharan to go away because you want to fit yourself into North Africa. That's all. What you say, each biological reality? I don't go there because we know. I don't know why they argue. Everyone knows the term black is a social construct, but it's also a reality. If it's a reality, then we got to keep it real and be real. I know who Martin Luther King was fighting for. I know what civil rights era was about. They was fighting for black folk in the black church. You guys know what black people is. Stop acting like you're dumb just because you want to spite Chief X. That's the only reason this black argument has come up is to spite Chief X. So when Ankh is arguing with all these other people, Jabari and all this, I'm in the back of his mind. So he can't go too far and he can't totally take the gloves off. Because if Ankh just take the gloves off and go hard like he really wants to, he'll sound like me. And he can't let that happen because therefore Chief X has won the argument and debunked the entire conscious community. And they can't let that happen or they can't make it seem that way. Hmm? So you got to remove the word black. You got to act like it's no sub-Saharan, and you got to act like Africa's just all one. Okay, my shit was muted. Um, I was saying Rashonda Hayward told y'all black asses to hit the goddamn like button. I need you to follow her orders, okay? Um, and stop being disobedient. Hit the damn like button. All right, what I'm trying to think of, I'm gonna leave some out. Yeah, Unc, you look totally bad. They whooped your ass. You have to stop using this black argument. You just have to stop. No one's gonna agree with you. The only person gonna agree with you is Juju, and she's only doing it so she can stay down. Juju's come from the Black Power movement, so I know she disagree with you. Juju comes straight up out the Black Power movement. You can't make her think she don't know who black people is no more. If she does, she's just fronting so she can continue to read for your dumb ass and be down with you. All your moderators, Tiffany, all them, none of them people believe you, Unc. They know you a jive turkey. They just hanging on because they have no other platform without you, Unc. King Sosa, Cedric, they all know you a jive turkey and lying and trying to manipulate. Unc, I'm gonna tell you something for your good. Leave the black argument alone. Either say Egyptians was not black people and it's not kinky haired people and that they of the Mediterranean people, or listen, if you didn't disagree with me all these years, why in the hell are you trying to debate me? What are you trying to debate me about? I'm saying Egyptians ain't black. Are you want to debate me because you're saying they are black? But now you're saying they're not black because black is a social construct. They're indigenous African people who vary in shades from light to dark. What the fuck does light to dark mean? Or what relevance does light to dark and varying of shades mean? It has no relevancy in population genetics. We know you niggas is playing mind games. Take my advice, Ankh. You the one who say forever black African power. Black African power? Although North Africans is not black Africans. So you got a white Africa and a black Africa. Now, I flipped Ankh so hard he changed his name to Bobby because he didn't want to be like looking like a crazed Egyptomaniac. Oh, my name is Bobby. He didn't change that until I debunked Black Asia. Um, um, what else I was gonna say before I get out of here? Yeah, Ankh, you're looking bad, and I'm not just saying that because I'm gonna tell you the truth. Like when you debate Sekou, you beat his ass. These are easy debates. I'll give you credit when you deserve credit, but when you become a crazed whack job, I'm gonna have to let you know. Like when I told you you lost your mind and went berserk on Sonetters, that should have you should have kept that in mind. Say, you know what? Like when you're on Smash Rockwell stream today, you still couldn't control yourself. Like at some point you got to be able to catch yourself and shut the fuck up. Catch yourself because you have this propensity and this strong desire to debate people with mental health issues. I've said this forever. Why would you engage in a debate with Pan African designs, James? James is a whack job, and he's gonna take you there. Like when I'm on Smash, I say Smash. I don't go back and forth with Pan African James. That's not me. He's gonna be on some stupidity shit. He's gonna be on some shit saying Nigeria is North Africa. He thinks that he's been arguing Nigeria is North Africa. Like, well, I'm not gonna be. Why are you engaging with these subpar people with mental health issues? Yes, James has mental health issues. And listen, James, Pan African James is in a wheelchair. I'm not bashing him for that. I wish the brother good health. But James has always, I know the nigga from the RBG movement. He should be arguing with them Texas niggas about how they stole his logo and used it for RBG weekend and different flyers and shit. Had this big beef, and I used to be in the middle of it. James had nothing to do with the intellectual community like he does now. I don't know how James came over here. He followed Yolanda's ass over here. James has always been a little. Even relate. The RBGs didn't even fuck with James. Because James has this self esteem issue. And he's like real bitter inside. He's in a wheelchair. He's kind of handicapped. And I'm not bashing him for that. I'm just stating it out there. This people need to understand this about James and why he's like he is. He's a gimp. And he is not a happy person about life. See, a lot of these niggas ain't getting no pussy. That's one part of the problem. A no pussy getting man is a frustrated man. He's a low esteem having man. It's problematic to have conversations with them. They are like big time haters and shit because they see other men having fun and enjoying life and doing things. Right? You got to understand the psychology of these cats. Niggas mad because I don't believe someone claimed they had cancer and I really didn't, you know. Not that I didn't believe them, but niggas, niggas be using anything to get money off of people. All of a sudden, all of a sudden, people are 100% healthy. Like, bam, bam, I'm healthy now. As they was collecting money from the community just some months ago. Shit. What's the other dude? He's nobody. He's in a wheelchair. The dude from New York. Is it Wise King Allah? 5% brother. Oh, that's an angry nigga too. Reggie, no pussy getting nigga. These niggas is whack jobs, weirdos. Reggie's a frustrated man. Only way Reggie gets some pussy is if he buy it. Come, you know what I'm saying? Hey, you got Asar Imhotep and shit. I call Asar Imhotep the linguistic guy, the kick guy who kicks pseudo linguistics. I call him the 40-year-old virgin. You know he got a 40-year-old virgin vibe about him. When do you see these niggas with women or getting some pussy or talking about it? When you say, okay, left hook, hit him with the left hook. Ah, ah. Sorry, Imhotep, what happened to you, bro? You used to be all up in the mix. I sat Sanjetti, Wujao, and so I sat these niggas down. Oh, mental health issues. That's all I'm gonna say. Mental health issues. But see, I worked in mental health. I was a youth counselor for 10 years, but I also worked in mental health. I worked with developmentally disabled adults. I used to be a day teacher at a day treatment center. I've had caseloads of kids, bad kids with mental health issues. I done been speaker at uh, um, Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous meetings. I used to be a GSR, they call it, group service representative. So when we get clean and stuff, you get up and speak on the podium and tell your story and how it was and how you cleaned up your life and how you changed your life. And I used to do that shit. I used to be in all in these programs dealing with these women and men who have psychological problems and couldn't get off drugs. I've worked in mental health, man. I'm telling you, these niggas is crazy.